Well, as you might know, it's that time of the year to be signing up for your Emeritus classes. They start January 19th, the spring semester, and they have an incredible variety of classes to offer. Our guest today has one of those great classes. We'd like to welcome Dr. Jenks. Nice to meet you, sir.
Great to meet you.
Nice to have you here, and I'm looking over what you teach, and you teach two different things. Bible is literature and also free thought philosophy. So tell me your background as far as where you come from and how'd you get into this?
I got a late start in academia, actually. I lived in Italy for 8 years
Wow.
and came back from there realizing that I was really motivated to pursue a PhD in Bible, actually. I got my PhD in New Testament studies several years ago. And loved it. It was something I really enjoyed, and eventually when I got through, obviously wanted to teach, went to Washington State to teach for a while, and then came down here when my mom fell ill, and caregiving for her, and I'm teaching at the Saddleback now.
Oh, very good. Bible is literature. Explain that. How is that different than just
The Bible.
learning the Bible?
Yeah, well, my students are all, some people go to church or synagogue to learn about the Bible, and rightfully so. I think Saddleback College draws a certain kind of student. It's students that want to learn from a more academic perspective. So I teach from a literary perspective. I talk about the storyline, the plot of the Bible itself, the arc of the story. And, of course, with that comes conflict resolution, characterization, all that. So that's the emphasis is on literature rather than on the literary component of the Bible, not just a religious component.
So you might have people taking this course that may not be religious at all, but are certainly interested in, as you said, how the Bible plays through all the different sections and who these people are, and it gives them a kind of an understanding, an overall view, right?
Certainly. In fact, what I love teaching about here in Laguna Woods is my students are older. They're not 18-year-olds that have never explored the material. They're people that usually have some kind of background, have some kind of understanding, plus they're not getting an education to get a job. They're not here with their parents pushing them to get a science degree. They're here because some of my students have PhDs in some field already. And so we have very informed conversations, and everybody has a bias. And what's really awesome about teaching here is we are able to converge with our biases and discuss and come to a better understanding. It helps people, I think, at this point in our lives when we're retired and we're to think through things maybe we've never really considered at any in any focused way. It gives that opportunity just to relax and sit back and think about it. And it's great. The classes are so stimulating. It's really a nice environment for discussing something like the Bible. We think we know it. It's in the culture. But to go through it the way we do it really helps people come to a better understanding of what they believe themselves about life, but also get a good knowledge of the Bible itself, something that's obviously very influential.
I've heard from many of the instructors that have been on our show kind of the same comments that you just gave about the people that take these classes are just so open and thrilled to take them. There's always a lot of great discussion. And as you said, the main reason is they're not being pushed by parents saying, you got to complete your degree here so you can get out of the house and go get a job. It's about the pure pleasure of learning, no matter what it might be.
It is. And I have the privilege of teaching literature in a philosophy class. Those kind of classes, they're not money-driven. You don't get a job from, but at the same time, they ask questions that all of us are asking and don't take the time typically to really pursue. But when they come into the Saddleback College system and discuss it with other people, they're asking the same kinds of questions. Synergy happens, great things happen, where people are able to come to a place. They connect together. We connect in the classroom, but also we connect over a topic that we're all really concerned about, interested in.
Yeah, very interesting. Tell me about the free thought philosophy course. What's that about?
Yeah, free thought.
Compared to maybe just learning philosophy.
Yeah, free thought is a piece of philosophy. Basically, and from my perspective, it's an approach to knowledge. How do we know anything? It's an epistemological course on how do we know anything if we assume that there's no divine revelation or outside revelation, and there's no supernatural, then how do you know anything? So logic, or how do we come to a place of knowing anything? One part of that class, which I love in particular, is the issue of bias. We all come to this world with bias. We've been raised different ways, different cultures, we have different, and when we're able to come together and talk about our biases and how that strongly influences our positions on things, why we're so dogmatic about some things. It's very, for me personally, I've gone through a journey where it's just been helpful to free me so that I can come to a better posture for listening to others and reevaluating my own position on things. And that's been very helpful. So free thought is obviously an old movement within the philosophical stream, but it is a helpful one, especially given the times we live in today, to help us think more clearly and to know why we hold certain positions. It's good to be self-critical.
Does this course have, when you start out, because it's free thought, do you have a certain structure to the class where each session you throw a topic out?
Yeah, unlike Bible as Literature, Bible as Literature is pretty structured.
Okay.
This class is a lot more, it's a lot freer. There is a historical component where we have to get into the conversation somehow. Typically the way to do this is to talk about how free thought came along as a movement within the philosophical stream. So we talk about historical aspects. Okay. But there is definitely a discussion, much more of a discussion component there. It's a lot less structured than a typical lecture class. It's a discussion class. I do throw out topics. I give 15, 20 minutes of intro to get us into the conversation, but it's definitely an interchange of ideas. We need to talk about things, and it's guided, but and there is a historical component that we need to know about, so we understand why we have bias in the first place, what our biases are based on. That's very important. I think we're not too self-critical, and we need to become self-critical, and frees us to be able to listen better. That's the whole point that I have as far as a mission for that class.
Well, it sounds like a couple great courses.
Oh,
and how long have you been doing this now?
About a year and a half.
I should say.
I've been here since a year and a half ago. I came
okay.
On. Yeah.
And you know, again, the thing I hear from all instructors is how much enjoyment they get out of it. Teaching
oh
here.
My gosh, it's really
amazing.
Great. Yeah, you know, the students get feedback to me that is so helpful, not just about the material, but we talk about life issues too. And I meet with many of my students outside of class. We go to Starbucks or whatever and talk about some of the issues we talk about in class, and I really enjoy that. Get their stories as well.
Yeah.
They hear my story in class, but I get to hear their stories too. It's really nice.
When does your class start? Is your starting run on January 19th?
Yeah, 19th
okay.
I think is
I
when
know
they
have start on different days.
Actually, mine starts on Tuesday.
Okay.
So it's the 20th.
So if you're interested in either one of these classes, Bible as Literature or Free Thought Philosophy, again, now's the time to be signing up for these courses. A lot of them fill up very quickly, and I think this is just the type of course that really fits this community quite well.
Yeah, I think it does.
We have a lot of people who have a lot of opinions and like to talk about a lot of things.
It's a place.
So, Free Thought Philosophy, there you go. Or if you're interested in just Bible as Literature, I think that's a great course as well. Very interesting. Nice to have you on.
Great meeting you.
Yeah, nice meeting you.
Yeah.
And again, now's the time to be signing up for these Emeritus classes. You can go online at saddleback.edu/Emeritus, and also over at Clubhouse 4, you can have sign-ups there. So make sure you do that if you're interested. As I said, a lot of these courses fill up quite quickly. All right, great. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you
right
as well.
back.
Thank you.